Hey y'all, welcome to the Neat Disciples. My name is Philip. This is Jeremy. Thanks for joining us today. We got a really good show today. We want to talk about standing firm when following Christ costs you everything. And then at the end of the show, we're going to do a tasting of a bottle that I brought back from Kentucky, from our Kentucky trip. So looking forward to cracking that bottle open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Kind of what got me thinking about this topic was the assassination of Charlie Kirk. A little over, we're right about a week and a half now as filming this. But you know, we talked about it a little bit, but that hit me way harder than I thought it would. I didn't know Charlie personally, of course, and I wasn't a follower. I did watch some of his stuff as it came across my feed, my social media feeds and everything, and I always really liked what I saw. He just seemed like a really good, upstanding man, a Christian man, had really good, really well spoken. And when I did see him debate with people, he always seemed very respectful. He didn't ever tell anybody that he hated them, no matter what their differences were. I mean, there were some heated conversations I watched, but it just seemed like evil hit the world hard that day.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I knew of him. I don't think either of us are really of the generation that was his target.
We're old, is that what you're saying?
Well, in a roundabout way, maybe. Obviously his people were the college kids, and someone needed to be there, and so he was, he was very, very effective at that. I didn't know who he was either. I really did start paying attention to him during the election. So he was very active during the election. So that's kind of where I really started to pay attention to him. And like you, when I got wind of just when he was shot, the first that came out, he was shot, and that really impacted me. And then when, half hour later, whatever it was, 45 minutes later, when it was confirmed that he had passed away, it kind of like what you said off before it started, my day was done. Didn't know him, barely followed him, but I feel like, this is how I said it from the stage. I said, I feel like we all lost somebody who's a champion for our values. And so it hit me a lot harder than I expected to. Part of it is, I can't believe this is happening in our country. And the other part is, we just lost somebody who was incredibly effective with the message or the messages that represent our values as Christians, as Americans, as leaning towards the right, so to speak. That I feel like a voice, a champion of my voice out there in society has been snuffed out, and it's frustrating.
One voice has, but I do think that there are 1,000 new voices
Absolutely.
that are popping up.
Yeah, there's no doubt this is a different feel now than prior to. It's I kind of likened it to, and don't read into this. I'm not trying to discount the effect of 9/11 because that's a huge thing that. But I kind of felt like the day that it happened, I kind of felt like I did on 9/11, the initial 9/11 in 2001. Just, you don't know what's going on. You feel like, even though, I was not at ground zero, I was in California at the time, I was nowhere near the attack, but I felt like I was under attack as well. Just, just kind of in community with my brothers and sisters, American brothers and sisters. And I just kind of felt that way again, in a way. It was just weird. It was weird.
Yeah, it felt, well, like to your point a minute ago, it felt like an attack on, it was personal, like an attack on her. Like, how is it happening in this country at this time in society? So as tragic as that is, I heard, now there's been a lot going on online, social media. I try not to pay a lot of attention to it. I did track when they caught the suspect and everything.
I probably paid far too close attention to it. I probably shouldn't because it's irritating me, but go ahead.
But one thing I did hear out of all this is, and it got me thinking about scripture where Jesus talks about sowing seeds, and I don't know how many people, and only God knows how many people that came to Christ because of listening to Charlie and his message and his organization. But we may have lost Charlie, but the seeds that he had sown are starting to sprout right now. They're rising up. So out of that one voice, we have hundreds, thousands, if not millions of people now. Yeah. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna stand firm in my faith. I'm gonna be more vocal about my faith. And that's why I kind of want to talk about this topic, because ultimately him speaking the truth out of the Bible and Scripture, and his views were driven by that. They were rooted in Scripture. Somebody thought that it was best to take his life, to silence that, right? And I know we've talked about this before, where I've been concerned of, how is somebody going to react to me? Like, would I be able to, if somebody put a gun in my head and said, hey, denounce your faith or I'm going to shoot you, I would really like to think that I would start praying to God and just go meet him right then, right? And I don't know. And hopefully I'll never be put in that position. Right. Hopefully none of us will, right?
But people there are people, unfortunately, worldwide that are
still, yeah. And that's the sad thing. And we talked about that before, down in Africa and then China and in other parts of the world where Christianity is illegal. Right. And that's unfortunate. So I think it becomes very critical for us as Christians to be able to, live our faith and share our faith in the gospel and get that message out. So, and really how this ties into what I want to do with the episode is that Jesus warned us about this. He did say in John 15, 18 and 19, if the world hates you, remember it hated me first. And the world will love you as one of its own if you belong to it. But if you're no longer a part of the world, I choose you to come out of the world so it hates you. And I mean, we did an episode a while back about celebrities being vocal, and how many times did people speak out and then they're not getting work in Hollywood because it goes against, their, I don't want to say values, but it goes against what they stand for. Yeah, they could be values.
Yeah.
So Jesus did tell us, right?
Yeah, he said there's a cost to discipleship. I mean, the verses, when you be ready to take up our cross, that's a reference to, that was a mode of execution. So the cross to them, to us, it's a piece of jewelry. It's inspiring. To them, it was an execution. So when he says be ready to take up your cross, he's talking about be ready to die. Charlie was. To me, as I pay more attention now to kind of the breadth of what he was doing, whether it was on a college campus and debating with younger people, or his speeches in a variety of places, or in a show, or he's outright communicating the gospel. To me, he's a great example of having a gospel-oriented worldview, because even in the debates that he was having, that he's well known for, when you go to college campuses and just talk about whatever they want to talk about, and he would have respectable conversations, but they're always rooted in the truth of the gospel. Doesn't mean that the people he was talking to believed it, but he was trying to convince them that there is a truth. The truth does come from somewhere, from an absolute truth, from God, and that if you follow that truth, adhere to that truth, believe that truth, and your life is oriented around that truth, then you're going to live a fulfilling life. Not everything's going to go your way, but it'll be fulfilling, and you'll have a purpose. Jesus does warn us that if we do that, because Jesus did that, of course, he was the truth. John 14:6, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. So he was the truth. They snuffed out his voice because it's a threat. It's a threat to those, it's a threat to evil. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just going to probably jump. I'm probably jumping a little bit, a few steps that maybe you wanted to get to. But,
no, that's...
But I think what we're dealing with here, we've always been dealing with this, good and evil. I mean, that's since the beginning of time, of course. But I think we kind of just get desensitized to it. We go about doing our life, and, we're reminded that evil exists every now and then, like, 9/11. When we watch the news and certain people that we don't know are murdered, or there's a variety of things that just any number of things that people can commit against other people. Evil's always around us, but then something like this happens, and it really just becomes a little more universal. That whoa, evil is still very, very powerful around us. It's still there, and it will do damage. It wants to do damage, and we can't take it for granted anymore. I think the response now is a lot of people are kind of recognizing that, like, this is, we're going to fight for good and evil, and I need to get into that fight now. And we're seeing that.
Yeah, I think we're desensitized to it.
Yeah.
Like it's so prevalent and so common in the world, slowly gets us to adapt to acceptance.
That, and there's a divide in our country, right and left. We just lob insults back and forth. And I think too that I'm going to speak on our behalf, or at least on my behalf, or at least what I've observed, that I think I find myself on the right versus left, not right and wrong, but right versus left. And many people in the past, I think this is what's changed in large part, but in the past, people were afraid to speak up because they're just going to get attacked by the other side, canceled, mocked, whatever, ridiculed. So many aspects of life today have been weaponized. And so, people are, I think, prior to Charlie's assassination, were afraid to speak up, or even like, it's not worth it. It's not worth the pain it's going to cause me. So, but I think a line has now been crossed, where a lot of people are like, that's it. I'm done with this. We got to do something about this, and I don't care what you say about us anymore. Or we're going to start now. We're going to start to fight, quote unquote, according to your rules, and give them a taste of your own medicine. So it's an interesting time.
It is, yeah. That's a very much an understatement. I think.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Best way to
time,
put
for
it,
sure.
just, I guess, for being on video, but it's an interesting time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful, and there is hope, because
Absolutely.
Jesus does tell us in Matthew 10:22 that all nations will hate you because you're my followers, but everyone who endures to the end will be saved. And I think, we as Christians have to get to a point where it's like, you know what, if you hate me, I can't change your mind. Like, I can tell you the truth. If you choose not to believe it, that's on you. That's your salvation. I feel for you, and I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray that something changes in you, and that you are able to come to Christ. You are able to see that. But if you're going to hate me in the meantime, that's fine. If you're going to ostracize me, then that's fine too. I mean, we lived through that during COVID when, not to go down that rabbit hole, but so many people were just berated and treated like second-class citizens because they disagreed. And they stood firm on their belief and their faith, and it got nasty. And I think with those events then, and now this event now, and we're seeing that turning point. And I'm really hoping that, you mentioned 9/11. I remember that very, very clearly. After that, our nation rallied.
Yeah.
You saw American flags everywhere. It was such a patriotic time, but how quickly we forgot, right? Not just several years later, then we're back fighting each other. We're no longer, one people. We're divided again. And that's that evil you're talking about. I think, the enemy doesn't want to see us rally together because, and this is more, United States standpoint, but united we do stand. As Christians united, we are going to be stronger than that individual. And the enemy doesn't want to see that.
No. That's becoming abundantly clear. I was sitting at a conference a few months ago where, decades ago, or for the longest time in our country, people used to gather, under religious denominations. I'm a Baptist, a Presbyterian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic, whatever. But we don't do that so much anymore. Now we kind of gather. Our tribe is our ideology. So right, left, extreme right, extreme left, whatever in the middle. So I think the enemy has done a pretty good job of dividing us just from there. And now it's almost like now he's kind of getting into the individual tents and doing whatever he can to divide us even further. 9/11, you're right. I mean, the entire country. I mean, we had, I remember vivid images of every one of the politicians I think it was Capitol Hill, right? The steps, and they're singing like Amazing Grace, or God Bless America, I think. That's what it was, God Bless America. And there's been no unification in this one. I mean, one side,
Yeah.
and Christians, of course, and I think some people that are open to, hey, I didn't agree with everything that he said, but this is still awful. Doesn't mean you have to believe everything to still to see the humanity. And he was a father and a husband, and just a human life that's been stuffed out in a horrific way. So even some people that just disagreed with everything that he said still say, hey, he's a human being, and this is wrong. So even they've kind of joined our side for a while. I'm not going to join the side, but I think they're seeing the evil for what it is. And are saying, like, I want no part of the evil.
Right.
Like, you're not evil if you disagree. You're evil if you celebrate this. You're evil if you mock it, and even you try and keep people from grieving, and mocking those who are in grief. I mean, it's sad. It's frustrating, and evil is made its existence known again. Yeah. But you said there's hope. And so I don't want to keep focusing on that. I mean, it's a reality, but there is hope that evil's not going to win. Evil's already lost. It's doing everything it can to hurt us now.
Yeah.
But we know that, the conquering of death, I think it was John MacArthur who himself passed away just a couple months ago. And I know he and Charlie were pretty close. John MacArthur said, I think prior to his own death, says the only thing, how do you put it? The only thing that death does is deliver us to Jesus. Like death has been neutered. Like it has no sway over us anymore. Charlie was immediately absent from the body and present with the Lord. There's hope in that. And our hope resides in that too. Not because Charlie's there, but because we too one day will be there if our faith is in Jesus. And so, immediately upon our death, whatever that looks like and whatever that is, to be absent from the body, as Paul says, to be present with the Lord. And therein lies our hope. And this is what Jesus accomplished through the resurrection.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was the worldview. That was the filter through which now Charlie and we as Christians see the world. And I think we now see it all. It's all the more imperative that we do go and make disciples, baptizing and teaching them, the Great Commission. That we take that now horrifically seriously, because salvation does hang in the balance, as we hear often from a friend of ours. And just it's true. And we have a job to do, and maybe this is a wake-up call for us too. Like, all right, it's time for us to really get to work.
Yeah, for me, absolutely, and I stand firm on that hope of it, and to kind of round it off, not to go back towards the evil part of it, but it does say in Matthew 5:10 and 11. I added 12 just for good measure, and I think this is Jesus' words. God blesses those who are persecuted for doing right, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. God blesses you when people mock you and persecute you and lie about you and say all sorts of evil things against you because you are my followers. And he says in verse 12, be happy about it, be very glad, for a great reward will wait you in heaven. And remember the ancient prophets were persecuted in the same way. So this is not a today problem. It's very much highlighted today because it's the time we're living in, but this is nothing new. People were persecuted for time immemorial.
Well, I'd remind you, this is a today problem for people, not maybe here in America, but this is a today problem for many people.
Yes.
So this very much is a today problem.
It's not just a today problem.
Correct. Correct.
Old problem.
Correct. This has been going on since Jesus.
Yeah.
Those are Jesus' words at the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew. So yes, Jesus was preparing his people that what we're embarking on is going to be worth it. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be it will be difficult at times. You will be mocked. You'll be separated. You'll be humiliated. You'll be ostracized. You could be killed. But in the end, kind of summarize, I will be conquering death, and you will never die. It's kind of the paradox. Even though we do still physically die, back to the MacArthur, all death does is deliver us to Jesus, and therein lies our great hope.
Yep.
That even in death, physical death, we've just transitioned. There's a word. Maybe we can recapture that word. It's being captured by the pride flag. Transitioning. But like this. But this is just a transition from
our earthly body.
Yeah, to eternity. I mean, even though we're already in eternity, but I mean, just that's our transition to home.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess is the way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where going through the mourning process of seeing that event happen, knowing that okay, it's terrible. The event was terrible. It's terrible for his wife, his kids, but he's with Jesus right now, and I don't doubt that any.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though there are going to be some people that the evil will try and convince otherwise, but 100%.
Yeah.
100%, and and that's just the words of Paul in 1 Thessalonians is we do grieve in a way. We're certainly not grieving to the degree that his wife and children are, and his family and those that knew him and loved him. But I think we share in that grief because he was a champion for our values. And so the weird thing is, I never met him. I didn't watch everything that he did, but I feel like I lost a friend. That's weird. I've seen a lot of people kind of say a similar thing. But Paul said in 1 Thessalonians that we do grieve, but we don't grieve as those without that have no hope. Yeah. So our grief is we're gonna our grief really is we feel bad for his wife, his children, his folks, the company. I even kind of grieve for just what he was doing really was impacting our country, in my opinion, for the good, and that's been snuffed out. Now the company can still do that, and it probably will be different. But I mean, we grieve those things, but we don't grieve like those that have no hope, because we have hope. And to your point, Charlie was immediately in the presence of Jesus, and ultimately that's our goal, right? Yeah. To go home, and he's home. And he being there, he's fulfilled. These three things remain: faith, hope, and love. Right. Well, his faith and his hope have been realized now. But we miss him. His family misses him. The pain of the separation is gone. But we know they'll be reunited someday. But until then, there's pain. Yeah. And that's the flesh, and we're bound by that. So, the hope is what keeps us moving and keeps us going. So, thank God for the empty tomb, because it's through that our hope exists.
Yeah, amen to that. So just a couple of parting thoughts as we kind of wrap this part of the show up is, don't seek acceptance from the world. Seek approval from Christ first, and expect the hatred, but how we respond to that hatred is going to be critical. We want to respond with truth and grace and not more hatred, because that's what's going to win the day. For sure. So we'd love to hear about somewhere in your life that you're tempted to compromise just to avoid opposition or a confrontation, or some examples where you actually had faced opposition and you stood firm in Christ. Like, how did you handle that in a loving, caring way? So we'd love to hear your comments on that. Any other parting thoughts?
No, I think I've rambled enough.
Okay. Yeah, good deal.
I need a drink.
Yeah. That was a good conversation. So let's try some bourbon.
Let's try some bourbon.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We're gonna try this rye whiskey. It's not a bourbon. It's a Kentucky straight rye whiskey. It's from Chicken Cock, based out of Bardstown, Texas. Bardstown. Good gosh, I can't even talk. Bardstown, Kentucky, not Texas.
Right.
Goodness gracious. Maybe I don't need any of this.
Say.
I can't even talk straight now.
I feel like I already dipped into it, maybe?
Yeah, no, we just pulled the thing off of it. So anyway, so we when we went our bourbon trip last month, that was last month. Oh yeah, it's still September.
Yeah,
our bourbon trip last month. This was a good stop. We didn't do it like a distillery tour, but they have a little tasting room, and they do sell their bourbons and ryes there. So I did a flight of the bourbons and rye, and you did a old fashioned flight, which was really good.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you're ever down there, there's a giant chicken with the saddle on the front. You gotta, you got to, right?
I guess. I guess so.
So here's a couple of examples of us on that. But yeah, so
It was a fun place.
It was
just
a
a
blast.
happy accident. Like, I mean, it's just right there on a roundabout, I think, or if I remember right. And
yeah,
so
close to downtown.
Yeah, and we just happened to be. We had talked about maybe going, but then we realized, oh, it's right there. So we just walked to it, and
It
was one of the funner stops that we had. Yeah,
it was fun. There was a lot of people there, and the jokes were flying
They were
because of the
flying.
name.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of 14-year-old boys in there. So, but the name is not to be derogatory. It's based
Correct.
on a chicken.
but that didn't matter.
No, there was still, even the bartender was in on it. Plus, he was a great person. A great time, and we all, there was what, 3 or 4 of us that ended up with bottles. You ended up with
Yeah,
a
I remember
bottle
I
or
got the
something.
Chanticleer, which was a bourbon cognac finish.
Finished, yeah.
Yeah.
But to break into that one day.
Yep,
My
yep.
favorite was the rye, the Kentucky Straight Rye whiskey. I like rye, so we're gonna open it up and grade it on the neat scale.
Yeah. So this one's 90 proof, right? I think we saw.
It's 90 proof.
Okay.
For a little bit more to taste. Okay.
All right. Well, it looks like bourbon.
It does look like bourbon.
It does look like
for,
bourbon
for a rye.
but yeah.
And it's got a really good viscosity. It's got kind of a little spice on the nose.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not too much. I mean, you expect that with the rye.
Kind of sweet. Mm-hmm. Sugary sweet.
Man, that is really good.
That is really good. Let me get my cough out of the way.
Yeah.
It's coming.
So
There it is. Okay.
It's got a really good taste. I mean, it's got a rye. You know, you can tell it's a rye. It's got that spice, but it's sweet.
It is sweet it's sweet forward. Mm-hmm. And but I'm kind of getting that peppery on the back end. Yeah. Not real. I don't get a whole lot of on the nose or in the mouth, like a whole lot of ethanol. Not at all.
No, there's not a lot of burn to it. And we overuse the word smooth, but it does go down really smooth.
It does.
Even the aftertaste is really good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna go down the neat scale, so the N is for nose. I think it smells amazing.
I agree with that. Almost like I don't know, like a blueberry muffin or something.
Oh wow, I don't get that, but
No?
I like it though.
Now I want a blueberry muffin.
I do kind of get a little berry. Get a blueberry.
Yeah.
I could almost see that. Maybe not the muffin part, but the blueberry. I don't know, man. I'm gonna give it pretty high on there. Probably a 4 on the nose.
4 is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
4 on the nose.
4 on the nose. So for the experience, the E of the neat scale, the experience, the taste, man, it's got really good flavor. It doesn't go away real quick. It kind of hangs with you.
There's a complexity to it. It's not just there. I mean, you're getting sweet and peppery, and everything kind of in between. So it's almost like it tastes as it smells. Like it's as enjoyable as it smells. And if the experience even includes, taking pictures,
Then it's going to be like a 7. Like, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I would grade that pretty high still.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about a 4 on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Obviously, 5 is our top, right? So
Yeah.
it's up there, but yeah, I'd say a 4.
And speaking of chicken cocks, there's a rooster outside. He I guess he knows when we film, and he must be knowing he must know we're trying chicken cock bourbon. He wants to come in and
he knows we're talking about his folks, his
I
people.
need some of that.
Yeah.
Accessibility and price for the A. I've never seen this on the shelf. They have a different.
Yeah, like they're like they're double. Well, they have like a, I think it's double oaked that I've seen on this shelf.
Seen double oaked, and they've got it's like a something blonde rye or something like that, but it's not this one.
Right.
The straight rye I've not seen on the shelf. So
it'll be kind of a bummer, just if we have to be truthful to the scale. It's not really available to us
that I know of. And if anybody's seen it anywhere on the shelf in Texas, that's where we're at, or anywhere even in your local area, let us know. But for that, I think we have to be a little bit.
We have
lower.
to just be honest, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's going to be a 2 because you can get it. It's not allocated. So if you
Right.
go to the distillery, I'm sure you
but
can
I
order it.
don't, right. But I just don't think many places cover it.
No, and if I find it on the shelf, we'll go back and revisit that. But
Yeah.
And I think price point, I think it was $100. It's $100 bottle. So that would kind of
Half
get
of
it
what I
down
paid
to
for mine.
Yes, I know mine wasn't finished, but so yeah, I think we'll do a 2 on that.
Which is a bummer. It's not necessarily
Yeah.
their fault, but it is what it is.
And then as far as texture, man, I think the texture is really good too.
You mean the mouthfeel?
Yeah, man, I hate that. It's not really harsh. I'm at the top of that.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's what you would want it to be, what you'd expect. It's 4, 5, 4.
Yeah. What do you think? 4 or 5?
Yeah, 4.
4?
I mean, 5 has to be exceptional, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's got to be way up there.
yeah.
So 14. So that would put us at a disciple. So that's I would agree with that. Follows faithfully.
Yeah.
Good and steady. Good bourbon.
It's
very
very good.
rye.
I was pleasantly surprised, having only known of them just because of being the junior high boy and just knowing the name. But then once we finally did try it and went and looked into it, it's actually really, really good.
Really good.
Yeah. So I could see myself having a bottle of chicken cock or something in my bar with regularity.
Yeah, I've definitely seen the bourbon and the double oak on the shelf, and I'll probably end up getting that from the liquor store.
Yeah.
Once I find I'll find some room. Like, let me just don't get me wrong.
We'll make room.
We'll make room
Yeah.
to put some more bourbon up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so chicken cock, definitely a disciple,
Yeah.
and highly recommend if you're ever in Bardstown.
Yeah, it was fun.
Definitely recommend chicken cock.
And get the old fashioned flight. It was good.
Yes.
There was one that's like, nah, this is a novelty thing. Had like sprinkles or something. This is like, whatever, I'll drink it because it's here. But the other 3 were really good. And the one with the Chanticleer that I ended up buying was fantastic. So,
Yeah,
good stuff.
Definitely good experience.
Yeah.
So stop in, tell
Yeah.
them the Neat Disciples sent you.
Yeah.
Because we did talk a little bit with some folks at the bar.
We did.
About the podcast. So, hey,
And send us the pictures of you on the.
yes, post the pictures of you on the giant,
Yeah.
the giant cock out
Whoa,
there.
okay.
The chicken.
Yeah.
It's a chicken.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Yeah, so thanks for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed the show. Really, too, we would love to hear from you on how you're standing firm in your faith and you are not compromising to the opposition when faced with that. So love to hear some examples. You can email us at theneatdisciples@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, all at The Neat Disciples. Look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you on the next show.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody. God bless. All right. So, hey, before we close, we're going to do a quick, let's do something we haven't done yet. Maybe we'll do it again down the road for somebody else, but given the circumstances, how about a quick toast to Charlie Kirk, who was a champion of at least our values and values for many people across our land. His influence will ripple across our country, if not worldwide, for years and years to come. And I'm hopeful for that. So to a man who stood bold for his faith, loved everybody, and was one of the finest examples of a gospel worldview to probably ever grace our country.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Here's to Charlie.
Yeah. Cheers to Charlie Kirk.